There we go.
Hey.
Should be working now.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, so this is Owlboy. Yeah. We've been doing a thing called Dine and Dash, or food zipping. 2, 3, 4. Hey, I got it. That was a one-frame trick where I just paused the game and it skips a cutscene. It's kind of cool. Basically we hold left and right click while we're hovering over a fruit, and it just sends us out of bounds. And it's really cool.
And I wish I could tell you how that works in code, because how do you guys figure these things out?
Also, you guys got audio like at the best time, because you got to hear like 2 music tracks overlapping, which just sounds amazing. It's so fun. Here are the pirates that, because, yeah, we're bad at our job.
Never said that Otis and Getty were any good at their job. They just kind of showed up.
Exactly. All right, so this is where the route starts to diverge from most of the major categories. Normally you wouldn't go to where you're intended to go here, but because this is a weird route, we kind of have to go here. So basically, you're supposed to come here and find Azio and be like, hey, there's pirates, and they're like, yeah, we know. And basically he's gonna tell us, hey, go to this place and turn off this thing. And we're gonna not do that because this is a speed run, and that's doing things that we're supposed to is very slow. So yeah.
By the way, might introduce yourselves again because we didn't have audio before.
Oh, right. Hi, I'm IRLAnimeBoi, and on commentary, I have a very special guest. If you want to introduce yourself again.
I'm some nerd who made the levels. I'm Adrian.
Yeah, so we have the level designer for the game, which is pretty cool. He has a lot of interesting insight on random stuff. You may have seen some random things kind of chilling out of bounds in Veli when we did our first zip. We'll be seeing a lot more of that later on.
And a lot of stuff was put out of bounds, mainly because it helped improve compatibility and just stability overall. It's much easier to, say you have something that's dependent on a flag or a file, or like an asset name or something like that, in any event or anywhere that's referenced. Deleting that might cause instability, so it's probably best if you just kind of shove it where people shouldn't ever find it, and just disable it maybe. And it generally, I mean, so long as garbage cleanup is good, then it doesn't really matter. But things like that just kind of help. Unfortunately, you guys got out of bounds really quickly and started finding all this trash.
Yeah. I mean, hey, why delete things when you can just move it out of sight, you know?
Yeah.
No one needs to know it's there.
It did that in tons of old games. You know, you'd get out of bounds and you'd find something that was like, what is that doing there?
So here we're going to dodge a cutscene by doing a zip. I'm just gonna roll into this loading zone from out of bounds. Now here, most categories you would reload from checkpoint to skip this cutscene, but because we have to go through here several times, it's just pointless. You would just lose time by skipping it, so we just watch it now so we'd never have to watch it again. So what I just did right there is what we call partner clipping. Basically, you spawn a partner in a space where there's just enough room for you to spawn them in, but there's not actually enough room, if that makes any sense. So basically, it takes priority of just spawning in the character and pushes you out of bounds. So here's our first boss fight. You might be wondering, hey, this is like the second area of the game. Why are you fighting this boss? So that's why it's, in quotes, reverse boss order, because we can't perfectly do it. So the order that we do it, there's 9 bosses. We go 2, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1, 9. Now the reason why we have to fight this boss now is because we wouldn't be able to do it again later, because he is our second partner that we need for the game. And if we get him as a partner, we can't activate the fight later. It also,
Yeah,
not getting them also causes some problems, I believe, just in the game later on. So it's better just to do the fight now, since we can't do it later.
Yeah, it's some of the way that, or some of the ways that the events are kind of set up is that they, they absolutely need a character to exist in your party or so on. There's a lot of flag dependencies. We didn't make it do things like assume you had gotten here and then set up everything as it should be and so on. It by doing that, it might have actually made things worse, and it would have allowed probably like more things to happen that shouldn't long term that we would have been tracking instead of it just crashing where people probably shouldn't be anyway, and then we could just track down the bugs and fix it. It was easier that way.
But yeah, so here we're going to be doing a sick little swag strat called Getty Toss. I should be able to get it. Easy peasy. So basically, we throw Getty onto the button, and we get into position for the door to open. So we just fall straight through. Oh, I thought I got it. So this is a cutscene that we can skip by pressing pause in that 1-frame window. But unfortunately, the rest of them in the run don't have any sort of visual cues, so you just have to kind of hope for the best. Alright, so now we're going to be going out of bounds to go back to the beginning of the area, because the next we don't want to do everything in order, because we're going backwards. So we're gonna go back to that kind of hub world area and do some more zipping to get to one of the last areas. So this is a route that is much different from 80% because we have to come back and hit this cutscene right here. This is going to make us fall infinitely, and we would just fall out of the void. We have to hit it from here so we can be on the ground. Because if we come back in there without hitting that cutscene, we will just fall straight back through the loading zone. And so we'll never be able to actually finish the run. So we hit that cutscene now while we can. And there's a Bogwin, probably most people's favorite characters in the game. Unfortunately, we won't see them anymore.
Oh.
So here's a place that's really, really fun. Shows off a lot of stuff that just got pushed out of bounds. Just look at all this unused stuff. So there's a beautiful, beautiful loading zone here that takes us to Mesa's corridor. And we're gonna do a partner clip off of this chest. And there's these enemies out of bounds that are actually a duplicate loading zone to our third character. And these weren't originally in the game. We used to just take the actual loading zone. But because the cutscene trigger on the loading zone was too big, we would hit the cutscene because we didn't have the character we needed for it. It would just crash the game. And so our lovely level designer, Adrian, put in a duplicate loading zone for us, meaning we can still take the same route.
So each of those torques that are just there, they've got like a little C-shaped, like just obstacle. They're just boundaries that are just drawn around them randomly. So I figured I'd just put in something stupid so you guys didn't have a free lunch. You had to find it, but now everyone knows.
So I just got the only other menu like cutscene skip that I can get, the 1-frame one. So that's pretty nice. Nice. So now we're gonna go to the second to last area of the game. This is to fight the 8th boss, who is Dirk. So this area we actually have to do normally for the most part. But there's a pretty cool trick about halfway through. So this area kind of sucks casually. There's all these bombs that get in your way, and especially since we don't have any health upgrades, if we hit one, we die. Although thankfully we have a little bit of fruit health, which is that purple bit on the health bar. So we can take a little bit of damage.
Yeah, you get that purple health by overeating, and when you are maxed out for your purple health, you get a little bit of a speed boost.
Oh, wait,
just
really?
movement boost in general.
I didn't know you get more speed if you're maxed out.
Yeah, you get a tiny. I can't remember what the multiplier is, but you get a little bit more speed in casual movement.
Because I know, you do get more speed if you have just full normal health. But I didn't know about the food health.
Yeah. It's a little thing that Joe slipped in. He didn't really document it. He just kind of like did it because he thought it would be fun, and it was fun. So we just were like, cool.
But yeah, like Red Spade said, yeah, I skipped about maybe 3/4 of the game by taking that out of bounds loading zone. So that's fun. And it's because of that we get to break this game to the extent that we do. So here I'm going to be setting up this trick that I was talking about. I'm going to grapple this vent from inside the vent, and because we're inside the vent, we're not supposed to be holding anything in there because the hitbox is too big. And so it forces us to drop the vent, but we were also holding Twig, which is fine. And so it drops everything, but we're still holding Twig, kinda. And so we have Twig, and it's complicated. Anyway, so there's this left-in cutscene. Hi, Otis, I'll join you from here. But please make this cutscene a little bit more elaborate. Shout out to that. Speaking of things that just get moved out of bounds instead of being deleted. Yeah. There's one more of those that we'll see.
Sometimes there's debug cutscenes.
But yeah, so we hit that cutscene. That cutscene being there allows us to actually do this. Basically, we hit that cutscene, and that gives us the trigger of basically saying, hey, we have Alphonse again, and so we can open this door because of that, without having to do like a 2-3 minute section that sucks. Anyway, so here's Dirk. He's a butthole, casually.
I thought it was funny that I told you guys that the secret pixel for like evading everything, because I don't think even Joe knew about it. Like I knew about it, and
right.
I just kind of, that's how I got through the fight a couple of times, and I forgot to tell everyone else on the team about it. So it was my little secret for the longest time.
Yeah, this is in traditional Chinese. So there's 13 languages, I believe, for the game.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of timing for all of the languages, and traditional Chinese is about, we think, like 15 seconds faster than Japanese. But both Japanese and traditional Chinese are like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes faster than English, so. You might also notice there's not a lot of text boxes appearing. That's because there's a beautiful, beautiful feature put into the game where if you just hold F, you fast forward through all text, which is really, really nice. So here's that little secret spot where you can just stand in and you never get hurt. So where we killed Dirk is actually kind of important. Not really. Basically, we kill him on the left side, and so he knocks us to the right. So we're standing right next to the door that we need to be next to. Saves like a second.
There's a tiny, like, it's kind of minor, but before the fight was kind of finalized, I put in some flags that check if you're on the left side or right side of Dirk. And it changes how you get thrown around after, you know, when he does his final flash. And,
right.
Little things like that. So glad they worked out for something other than just being like more to do with like not making it look dumb when you're crammed into a corner with Alphonse.
All right, and we're through the door. And so now we're gonna watch some cutscenes. So here are the, these are totally collectible keychains of power. Collect all 3 and you're the coolest kid on the block. And as you can see, this guy has all of them in the collector's edition display cases, so he's like extra cool. So here we're gonna hit the cases or whatever, and this actually saves about 15 seconds. The game will auto progress if you don't, but it kind of progresses along faster if you hit the cases. Because you're supposed to try and break them out, and you're like, by hitting them, you realize, oh, we can't. Anyway, I'm gonna grapple to the end of this hallway and then walk dramatically. I believe this is called RP walking. And now I'm sad. Or scared. One of the two. And it's the big bad guy of the game. But yeah, you might have seen, I still have Getty as a partner in this area, and that's because, well, we broke the game and did everything out of order. So we never hit the story trigger for us to lose Getty. And so we just kind of still have him. Although he can't do anything to, like he doesn't do any damage to Dirk or anything like that, just because he's not scripted to even be there. And that'll be the case for a few bosses with different characters. So there's Slaus. I mean Solus. His name is totally Slaus though. But yeah, so basically, that guy steals the relics, and he, like, flies away or something. I don't know.
Well, he's now the coolest person in the world.
Right. But yeah, so this guy gets angry, and he's like, dang you for making me not as cool anymore. And then our friend Getty that we already have comes in and saves the day, kinda. Yo, Shasta, if you have any donations that you want to read off. Now
we actually do not have donations, unfortunately. I could plug something really quick if you want me to.
Go for it.
Alright, so we currently have no file names for the file name set for Fallout 4. There's a 14-character limit for that file name for those file names, so get that in. There's also the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 combo exhibition, which currently has $0 out of $50 towards that, so get donations in for that. Also, last thing I want to plug, for Hat in Time, there's a bid war between Save or Kill Mustache Girl. Now, this is interesting. This is kind of like, you know, like GK has like Save and Kill the Animals and all that. It's basically like our Save and Kill the Animals in a way. Because, well, at the very end of the run, you have the option after the credits, or after the run's done, to save Mustache Girl, or, like, you know, she's like the villain of the game and all that, or kill her. And right now, save her is at $5, but that's really weird since she's kind of evil and hates us. We probably shouldn't save her.
I agree.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Gary donations for all that, please.
Oh wow, that was a gold split.
Yo.
Popping off, dude.
Rolling deep.
Alright, so now we're going to be taking an interesting route. This is... Because we have the donation incentive met for bad boss cameras, I have to take a really, really backwards route to get to the next fight. So I have to go back to Mesos through that beautiful extra little loading zone. And then we're going to go out of bounds again. Oh yeah, I can explain this time. So there's an awesome trick that we get because we have Twig when we're not supposed to, where if we just talk to him next to a wall, we just walk through the wall. Because he because we don't technically have him as a partner, he just wants to talk to us. And so we just, yeah. So I'm going to go through this invisible loading zone. And welcome to the Mint Green Room. You guys donated for this. I appreciate it. So this is a giant room that we have to go to the far right side of. And we spawn on the left side of it. So this is going to take a minute. Adrian, if you want to explain what this room is.
So originally the second phase of this fight that's coming up was supposed to be in the same map, and so it was something like 20,000 pixels wide or something. I'd have to check it, but it's we had originally just planned out everything, put everything into this one map, and then it was like, oh wait, we need to like redo how the chase is even done. It was Henrik did a whole bunch of new things with it just to save space and memory and all, and then we just kind of ditched the rest of the map. Again, it was for compatibility, and just yeah, it was already such a complex piece of code for Henrik that he just wasn't going to try and risk breaking anything more. So I just left it all.
So yeah, this is fun. So the reason why this sucks a lot is because I'm playing on keyboard and mouse, so I have to actually aim, and because the boss arena is much smaller, I have much less room to actually aim in. But it's also kind of cool because I get to see where he's coming from, because I can see like out of bounds a little bit. So it's a plus and a minus.
It also lets you see how weird the snake looks when it's like ready to come through.
Hey, I got a two-face snake.
Oh, nice. We originally had a little more going on with this boss fight. You can kind of see the that weird rider that was on top of the snake's head. It wasn't more elaborate with like cutscenes or anything, but we just hadn't gotten around to like improving any or adding a little bit more as to what that character was. We decided to just kind of leave it as is. Make it look like, why is this thing attacking you or going nuts? Well, it's got a thing on its head you have to expose and then kill first or something.
By the way, motion sickness warning.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I don't have any real footage of how it was originally, but this was a lot faster. And it made a couple of my friends sick when they were watching the video. It's like, hey, check out this link. And they're like, hey, that looks really cool. Oh, I'm gonna barf.
But yeah, so this is one of the few auto-scrollers in the game. And I believe it's the only one that we actually have to do in the speedrun. All the other ones, there's workarounds for them. I got really lucky with all the rock RNG, so I didn't take any damage here, which is nice.
Nice. Originally, this actually didn't spin. It was just like a very straightforward ride around kind of thing and on lanes, but I thought that it needed something, like, you know, it's this idea that you can take something that's really simple and you can add something new to make it more difficult just because it's something you haven't really dealt with before.
Right.
So just adding that spin gave it like this really cool flair to get across the idea of being like sick on riding this monstrous thing, and gave a little bit more of a challenge, something that's more memorable than just get on a thing, ride on rails, boring.
Yeah. So we're gonna twig talk back out of bounds, and we're gonna go back to where we kind of were earlier. We're gonna drop through this loading zone, which is gonna take us back to the Strato area, which is kind of like the hub for all loading zones, really. Any loading zone that's out of bounds is usually going to be in Strato. And we're going to take this invisible loading zone to our next boss, which is King Kaboon, which is personally one of my least favorite.
Really? It's the best, though.
Alright, so I'm going to, just in case, I'm going to take the safety save, because This boss sucks. I think I have to like grapple right here. Oh. There we go.
Oh,
so here's boss
Troy,
2 or 3 that has the bad camera. So this boss sucks a lot. If I die, I'm gonna blame RNG, honestly. Because this is actually one of the only RNG things in the game, is where these monkeys spawn. And so you want them to not spawn right above you, because it makes them really hard to dodge.
Yeah, they are. This one's a pain in the ass for a reason. Hardest boss in the game.
So, RNG is being really not kind to me. Hopefully we'll survive. I only have a couple more. Dang. That's unfortunate. Yeah, so this boss can be difficult even casually. Or quote-unquote casually. The normal way you're supposed to play it like this. But the added effect of not being able to really see where you're supposed to be makes it a lot harder. Unfortunately, I have no way of getting the bad camera again, so I just have to fight it normally.
Originally, the spawning rectangle for all of the monkeys was a lot smaller, but then it became really easy to just hang out in one spot.
Right.
And I mean, it was good. I think my dog might be audible on the mic. But it was like too easy. It was just one of those like laughably easy once you just like hug a wall, which most people would.
No.
So their first instinct made the fight completely pointless.
So this boss fight's fun.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoy it. This is why I gave an hour estimate. Because I knew something like this would happen.
It's okay. We'll hit that 69 minutes on 420.
Yeah, have quick nation then?
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, cool. We have $20 from Melrose with no message. Thank you very much, Melrose. If you want to go somewhere, like George said, please tell me in chat.
Alright, I shouldn't die here. Hopefully.
You're not allowed to.
Alright, cool. Alright, last phase, everyone. Please don't die me.
You can do this. I believe in you.
Alright, good spawns, good-ish spawns. They grouped up a little bit tight there, which got scary, but we killed him! Woo! We did it, guys.
Normally you can hang out in that sort of bottom corner and peg them to make them land in the lava for about, like, most of the phases, probably until the last 2, if the RNG is good to you. But yeah, once you get to the last 2 phases or so, it's just there's so many that drop down. It just goes nuts. Even for me, it's like pretty tough at times.
So now we're gonna zip out of bounds to go back to the first boss of this area and the last one that we're gonna do with the messed up camera. Basically, from what I can tell, the reason why we're able to get bad cameras for these fights is because we are entering the loading zone of the fight without hitting like the trigger for like the camera to zoom back in on like the play area. So it just never resets it, and so it just stays zoomed out.
Yeah, it's there are to try and explain it. So there's camera tweening functions, and the camera tweening functions usually go between the last room you're in and the next, and so on. And I can't remember specifically how it's set up, but it always kind of assumes that the camera say the camera on the hallway to your left and right of this fight room, they're specific size and they have just certain properties to them, and I think it's because you go from a no camera zone to the like a restricted one that it just kind of screws it up. I'd have to ask like Henrik about his camera code about, specifically, but essentially anytime you're going from like a no camera room that is out of bounds, you're doing a bad thing. You're doing an ugly thing to our game.
Yeah, we kind of break this game a lot. So, we got through this fight pretty easily. This is probably the easiest one out of the three, just because you can at least dodge the attacks very easily if you're used to the fight.
Yeah, once you get used to that pattern of just ducking around the lightning orbs, it's not that hard actually. It's just intimidating to see so many of them moving around and having the blob monster just bouncing around.
Right. Yeah, so we didn't lose too much time. Oh, I got tabbed out of my game somehow. Lol.
Uh-oh.
I was like, why is it frozen? So we're gonna teleport back out to the main hub world. Skip that cutscene. And now that area where we got Alphonse, that's where we're going back to get to the fourth and third boss. And that's where the last difficult trick that I have to do is located. It's not really difficult, it's more so just finicky. So here we're gonna use Twig to grapple around and get places quicker. I hit this loading zone, or this save point, so I'm going to use that to my advantage. Get full health. We're gonna come back through this loading zone from out of bounds. See, here we would have soft locked if we didn't hit that cutscene. Right, I have to hit 1. So I specifically spawn Getty and use him to partner clip. And then we're gonna do the exact same zip that we did earlier to get out of bounds. And we're gonna go through this loading zone, fly up a waterfall, because, you know.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually kind of fun to explain, have you guys explain how you climbed the waterfall and then explain it to Henrik. Because that was one of the first things that we had kind of rebugged about the game. And it took him a bit, but then it clicked. And then, yeah, we, what is it? That little alcove was added in, because we had to fix the waterfall
right.
For another problem. But just adding in that little alcove was just, like, it was such a simple fix. I'm kind of glad I was able to get that going. That was one of those, like, aha, let's keep breaking this game for people who, you know, aren't actually playing the game properly.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun, actually, to kind of deconstruct the bugs and to add them back in, or to do something that just makes it so most people would never ever come across these problems. Like, most people will never find these things, and we do once in a while get an email in support that says, like, hey, I got out of bounds, but it was okay because, you know, I've got this, there's the checkpoint system where you can just go back to any checkpoint and so on. So people generally don't care that much. There's never anything lost by doing it.
Right.
But we just kind of quietly go, oh yeah, that's for speedrunners. In some cases, like in the jungle, or not the jungle, well, yeah, in the jungle dungeon.
Yeah.
There's a very the areas where the rocks would roll. It's a little bit narrow, and people could accidentally.
You can get pushed out of bounds by the rocks. I've done that a few times.
Yeah, it was very easy to get pushed out of bounds in those spaces because it was just very low ceiling and everything. So people were accidentally screwing with that. I made them a little bit bigger here and there just to try and get around that. But you guys never really used those anyway, so it was not a big problem to fix.
All right, bless RNG. This trick sucks. I'll stay here for just a second. Okay, we got out second try. No, we didn't. Okay, never mind. I'm just gonna reload and we're gonna try it again. Yeah, so this trick, you have to fly in a very, very particular way, and it'll cause him to throw the bomb exactly where you need it. That is exactly what we need right there. So if we roll to the right while we're in that alcove and he throws the bomb past us, the explosion, something with like collider boxes or whatever, it'll knock us out of bounds. And so we're able to skip this entire stealth section. Like this is probably a 5-minute section of the game. Now we're gonna do a food zip off of this fruit and then fly into this boss arena. Hello? Oh, there we go. Yeah, that was the one trick I was super worried about in this run. It's very, very finicky as far as like where you are and how you fly to the area. Because everything in this part of the game is entirely reliant on how you approach everything, like how you move, where you move. Oh wow, that was an insanely fast helicopter too.
Yeah, a lot of the events, they're just these just rectangles, and for the most part, I've tried to make them overlap. Not just the walls a little bit, so they're always a little bit out of bounds for triggers and stuff, and I think that's pretty much why you guys can do so many of these things. But for safety reasons, it's always good to just have the rectangles a little bigger than the play area. The worst thing would be to pass through like a checkpoint zone and it doesn't actually trigger because of like one magic pixel or something stupid like that.
Yeah, so we do a food zip, and we kind of wrap around the map back to the first helicopter that we skipped. This one, where he moves, is entirely dependent on where we move, which is kind of like what I was talking about earlier. So now we have to kind of go through the area as normal, but we have Twig, which we shouldn't, so we can just kind of breeze through everything pretty quickly. We're gonna scare this guy for him to close the door, and because he closed the door, we can just open the door. Which is pretty nice. Oop. Ow.
By the way, when you have time, I have another donation to read.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, cool. So we have $21 from Volshock saying $4.20 to Super Mario Odyssey Udon City Festival, $4.20 to Kill Mustache Girl, and $4.20 a piece to name Fallout 4, Morrowind, and Super Mario Bros. 2 file names as Wiggly Woo.
Nice. Alright, and so here we're going to do a zip and find our last out-of-bounds cutscene that was left in the game. Hey, who's this little guy? Man, my guards are incompetent. Good thing I'm not. Whack. You will now wake up in Valley, and the Battle of Advent will be over. Maelstrom wins and gets relics. Cutscene goes here. Lovely. Good cutscene.
Now you know our actual writing skills.
Yes.
If only the whole game was like this.
Oh, I would probably love it more, honestly.
It might have actually been like this for a good chunk of the game.
But yeah, so instead of going to the right where we spawned, we're going to go back to this cave to fight the very first boss of the game. I get to bully him a little bit because of how we have to start the fight as well, which is nice. So I'm gonna do a full zip off of that fruit. We're gonna come down here. So normally you would just like walk through the side of this wall, but we can't because, well, we've already done this area, and so we have to come through here and just smack him to start the fight. So I'm gonna take his shell over here because I'm mean. Oh, he can't actually go through here. Get wrecked, kid. Oh no! Okay, I have to reload because I didn't realize he can't go back there. That's fine. This fight's super short. I'll toss it near him this time.
Yeah, I think he can only fly it there. Again, it's because I think it obeys the obstacles. There's some invisible walls that get generated when the fight starts because it closes off the arena. But I think that the flying mode has all collisions disabled just because it would be a nightmare to have that thing fly into walls constantly.
So you can hold the torch. Like Alphonse, if your shot is down, you can hold the torch and it'll just infinitely tick damage. And that boss stays still if he's taking damage. So like you slow him down. Oh my god, please. Thanks. You slow him down by, dang it. I have to watch this cutscene now. That's fine. So you slow him down to like prevent him from getting his shell or whatever. So you can just basically lock him in place. Which is kind of funny.
I do like the one where you took him into the hallway. It's just or like the flying mode. It's just yesterday. You just it's like I've never seen that actually happen before.
Yeah. But yeah, so now we're on to the last area and the last boss of the game. I'm gonna do a zip here just to save time. So this character, the tall one, her name is Kernell, but I'm pretty sure she's actually Elon Musk. Pretty sure. You'll see why here in a minute. But yeah, so we're gonna go talk to her, say yes. Oh, shout out to the NES right there, by the way.
Oh yeah, few people notice it. There was originally going to be a mini game, kind of like a short and simple. There are some assets for it, but we just never got around to actually finalizing it. But it was just like an 8-bit version of Owlboy you could play. It was just like a dumb save mandolin kind of thing, like a Mario World or just like a Mario 1 kind of thing.
Neat. But yeah, so this is why she's Elon Musk. She made a rocket. No big deal.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to the donation total right now at 69,169.
Nice.
Pretty
Nice.
solid. Good job, guys. Proud of you.
I was hoping for 69. Can we get to $694.20? That's what it was. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, someone do the math and get us to 69,420. That would be amazing.
Please.
I need this. We need this.
Oh, by the way, thank you guys for reminding me. So in this part of the game, so you pick up all these coins that I've been kind of glancing over, not at all talking about. You can use those coins to buy upgrades and random items. Some of the items include hats, which have no purpose other than making you look dumb. But once you enter this area, you lose your hat, period. There's no way to keep it. So hashtag no hats in space. By the way, you can fall early here in the cutscene, and then you'll just land, and you'll just fall over for no reason. Because animations are weird and hard, I guess.
It's, yeah, I wanted to have some other stuff. But it's because the flying check in this area just defaults or something to another behavior. It's kind of like there's your baseline there's baseline movement restrictions on all of the everything in space, and it was easier to just kind of like layer something else on top of it, but I guess it just gets over prioritized. I'd have to ask Joe about that because he was in charge of doing all that. But I tried to get around a whole bunch of animation restrictions here and there, but sometimes you just can't. Some things are like hard coded.
Right. But yeah, so this is we're in space right now, by the way. There's a library in space. Don't question it. So this is like the one true platforming section of the game, really. There's one other, but you can actually just fly around the entire thing. So we can't fly because obviously there's not enough air in space to fly. No, have to go do this the slow way.
Yeah.
But we do get one flap, and we use this one flap to our advantage. Basically, you'll flap and be like, "Oh, I can't fly," and then you'll start slow falling. And we use that to do some platforming sections a little bit more optimally by like boosting across and stuff like that. Like you saw me on that one like little column section. I was skipping, going back and forth by just flapping once and then getting onto the platform above me. I'll be doing that again here in this chandelier room. So coming up
is... we did it.
Coming up...
So, I can read it really quick if you want me to.
Yeah, go for it, go for it.
Alright, so we got $2.51 from Visuals saying, 69,420 boys!
Nice.
That puts us at $694.20.
Heck yeah. So this is the newest trick that's been found in the game. If you saw the AGDQ run, Zik was trying to do the old version, which, to be fair, is an extremely difficult trick. This version, much faster, much easier. So we're just going to spin into these spikes. And it's going to put us into this damaged glitch state where we can just infinitely flap up. And we're out of bounds. And we're just going to get past a giant section of the game. I think this is about like 2.5 minutes faster than the no out of bounds route. No, I messed it up. All right, that's fine. It only takes about 30 seconds. So there's a very specific like button combo that you have to do. Basically, you have to wait for the flash animation to finish, and then you hit up to start your flap, and then you cancel your flight and then immediately hit up again after the flash. Dang it. So the reason why I'm messing this up is because you have to add an extra input to like get some momentum like to the right, basically. So you have to like turn around halfway through the trick.
ASMR keyboard sound.
Keizathon.
Okay. There we go. Easy peasy. We're gonna hit that checkpoint from out of bounds, and we're just gonna go on through. So now we're doing this part of the game how it's intended. Kinda. We'll get to a certain spot where we skip a decent amount of quote-unquote gameplay.
Yeah. If you notice, there is a room full of soldiers or like armor. Originally, those were actually enemies in this section of the game because this whole dungeon was way different. I was still thinking of having like one of them activate when you come into that room and become like a mini boss. We didn't have time to do it, but it was also kind of part of this like thematic build-up of just like this is a dead place and nothing's really working anymore. It's just like a tomb of knowledge.
Hey.
Whatever.
So what I just did there is I rolled into a cutscene trigger, but because we weren't on the platform when the trigger is supposed to like start or whatever, the game just doesn't actually start the next sequence, and it just puts you in the loading zone to the next area. So we skipped about a 2-minute auto scroller. I'm gonna take this extra health just to be like super careful. Probably shouldn't need it. But here's the last fight. So this is Slouse. He's mean sometimes. So this is the only other instance of RNG in the entire game. Ow. So the attacks that he does are RNG. Some of them are very slow, and some of them are very fast. So far, he's giving me a bunch of bad ones. There's a good one. So basically, you want him to stay still for as long as possible, because you have to shoot him with each of the 3 characters a certain amount of times to knock off the relics. Alright. Yay! Shout out to good attacks.
Yeah, we were talking about pacing for this boss yesterday. How you thought this was like one of the easier bosses in the game,
right?
And yeah, it's like from a pacing perspective, we have like a really challenging. You know, you don't platform really the entire game, and then you're being expected to do this like, you know, not really challenging, but just an unexpected amount of gameplay. And for a lot of people, it was really hard, especially after like the elevator that we didn't see. And getting to a boss that's after like a period of frustration, and having the boss now actually be amping up that frustration, I think was the right choice for just overall like playability.
All right, cool. There we go. And the boss fight's done. Yeah, so that's basically it for gameplay. Now we get to sit through a few cutscenes and whatnot. I might be a tiny bit over time, like about a minute. It's my bad, but yeah. So,
yeah, time for a quick donation.
Yeah, go for it.
At least?
Go for it.
All right, sweet. So we have $5 making sense from visuals. Say, the meme lord giveth and the meme lord taketh away. At least now we're at $700. So collect all the runners.
Hey.
Nice.
It's also saying look to himself as well, 13 because it's running Hollow Knight in 2 runs from now, or 3 runs from now actually. So that's pretty cool.
Nice. But yeah, so while this cutscene's playing, I'm just gonna go ahead and give a few quick shout-outs. First of all, shout out to the Owlboy speedrunning community. They're a bunch of really awesome people, and yeah, I appreciate them. Shout outs to D-Pad Studio for making this awesome game. I really love it. Shout outs specifically on the D-Pad Studio team, Joe, Henrik, and Adrian for constantly dealing with the speedrunners and us demanding you to keep glitches into the game. Also, shout out to all of the Keizathon organizers. You guys are absolutely amazing for putting on this event for Keizaron. It's really, really awesome that you guys did all of this in such little notice as well.
Thank you for inviting me to this. This is fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you could be here.
So are we gonna do laser skip?
Oh yeah. Let me set it up really quick.
Okay.
So this is the real hardest script in the game. I don't think anyone's done it in a run yet, but we'll try and be the first, you know?
I think I pulled it off once with my debug tools.
So here we have to do a very, very difficult puzzle. Ugh, first part done. That was a hard one. Alright, part 2 over. Here comes the real challenge, part 3. I'm sweating.
Okay.
This is a sub-pixel, sub-millisecond trick.
He's done it!
Gosh, gamer.
Alright, here comes laser skip though. I have to put about 1 million inputs in 17 seconds.
And the Konami code. Actually, that would be horrible if Joe actually slipped that in.
Alright.
Like, if...
Let's see if I got it. Oh, no, I didn't Dang, I'm sorry, guys.
It's okay.
Run ruined.
F.
Can I just restart? Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah, we're only an hour in, so, you know. Yeah, so that's really unfortunate. That's a feels bad, man, if I've ever seen one. Oh yeah, another thing. If you guys are interested in playing Owlboy, you can get it on Steam. I believe it's on GOG. The soundtrack is for free on Spotify. If you enjoyed any of the music and the soundtrack. Anything else you'd like to say, Adrian?
Jonathan also has the soundtrack up on Bandcamp if you'd like to get it there either. It's also on all consoles now. Just launched, so we're still going through a bit of bug fixing for the Xbox and PS4 versions, but I think the Switch version has gotten pretty stable. We had a few problems with it, but Blitworks is still on it. They're doing a fantastic job of that.
All right, get ready on time. And time. Not too bad. Only about like 30 seconds over estimate. But yeah, that was Owlboy in quotes reverse boss order. I'd like to thank you guys for having me and allowing me to do the run. It was a lot of fun, honestly.
Thanks for running the game.
Yeah, make sure you guys stick around. There are a lot of really amazing runs to come. And good luck to the rest of the runners, and good luck to Keizaron as well.
Yeah. Before we end, my very quick donation.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, we have $6.08 from Anon with no message, so thank you for that. Alright, go for it.
But yeah, so that's just about it. I've been IRLAnimeBoi. Thank you again, Adrian, for commentating, and thank you, Shasta, for reading donations.
My pleasure.
Anyway, I'm gonna go. Appreciate it, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of the marathon.